is up, everyone? Jeremy here, and if you have been following my channel for a while, you know I am a fan of thick and chunky guitar tones. Well, something I've never even really considered is utilizing a fuzz pedal in my signal chain. Now, why is this something I've never even really considered? Well, it's because fuzz pedals tend to provide a smoother, more rounded off, and less articulate tone. Now, this can be great for things like Doom when you want that nice and sludgy guitar tone, but for the things that I tend to play, more usually anyways, when you want those chugs to be super tight and precise, a fuzz pedal is really kind of the last thing you'd ever think of. That all being said, I decided to give a couple fuzz pedals a try in my signal chain and see what sort of effect they would have on the tones and see if it would still work well in a modern metal setting. I'm actually thrilled with the results, and I have some audio samples lined up for you to check out, so let's jump into those now. Alright, so the first two audio samples you're going to hear are the ones that have the fuzz pedals, and they are both being processed through my Neural DSP QuadCortex. The first of which is using the Facial Fuzz pedal, which is based on the Arbiter Fuzz Face. So let's have a look at that signal chain. And so here it is. First up is the adaptive gate. Then we go into some pre-EQ. Then the Facial Fuzz, and you can see the settings that I have here. Then we're going into a green 808. And this was just to kind of tame a little bit of that low end. As you can see, I'm turned up the tone a little bit to kind of add a little bit more top end. The Facial Fuzz, there was quite a bit of bottom end there. And then I'm also boosting the level, trying to get a nice hot signal going into the amp. So that is the preamp signal. And then the amp I'm using here is a neural capture. It's the Granifier neural capture. So it's the Granifier. This particular capture was captured by Mike Stringer of Spiritbox, so you can look up his user account and find that capture under his account if you have a QuadCortex. After the amp, we're doing some additional EQ here, just kind of pulling out some of the mids, and there's a high and a low pass, and that's essentially it. And you can see the IR section is off, and that is because I like recording the signal without the IRs in it so that I can add the IRs in the DAW and I can change it later if I want to. So that is the signal chain, and here is the audio sample. That sounded absolutely gnarly in such a good way. There was still plenty of pick attack retained, and those chugs sounded thick and chunky. All right, with that, let's move on to the second fuzz pedal. This time it is the Anima Fuzz Neural Capture, which is based on the human Gear Animato. So quickly running through the signal chain on this one, the only thing really different is the pre-EQ, the Facial Fuzz, and the green 808 were all bypassed. So like this, and then we engage the Anima Fuzz, and the capture that I'm specifically using here is the Capture 1. So Anima Fuzz 1, you can see the settings there. And that is the only difference between the last signal chain. So the adaptive gate stays the same, the granny fire stays the same, and the post EQ stays the same, and we're using the same IRs in the DAW. So with all of that, here is the audio sample. Again, it sounds super gnarly while retaining the majority of the pick attack and keeping those chugs nice and thick. So for this last audio sample, we're going to have a listen to what one of my more typical signal chains without a fuzz pedal sounds like as compared to the last two that had the fuzz pedal. So for this signal chain, here's what we've got. So we're processing the DI signal starting with the Neural DSP Fort and Cali suite, and as you can see, the amp and the cabinet section are both off. Then we go in through the Zool and then into the grind, and you can see the settings there. Then the next thing up is Archetype Nolly, again from Neural DSP, and notice the only thing on here is the amp, and you can see the settings there. I won't read everything, but it's on the screen right there. And then the last thing is the STL Tones Ignite Libra IR loader, and the two impulse responses that are on this are the Jeff Dune impulse responses, and I'm pairing two of them. One of them is the R121, and the other one is an SM57, and those are being paired together evenly at 50% each. And I should note also that the last two audio samples with the fuzz are using these exact same two IRs. I forgot to mention that earlier, but it's all audio samples are using these two IRs blended. So that is the signal chain, so let's have a listen to it. That obviously sounds incredible, but when compared to the tones with the fuzz, it's clearly lacking some of that dirty disgustingness that the fuzz pedals add to that tone. Now, that may not be your thing, and that's totally cool, but I'm personally really digging that extra kind of dirty disgustingness that the fuzz pedals are adding to this tone while retaining that pick attack and keeping those chugs super thick and chunky. So with that, we're gonna wrap up this video. I hope you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, do me a favor and hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel for more like this in the future. With that, I wanna thank you for watching and thank you for your support.